Hi there, my name's Emma Witcutt. I work as a project assistant for Northumberland Wildlife Trust. I work on a project called Coast Care, which has been running since 2017, and I'm here to tell you a bit about who we are and what we've achieved in that time. So first of all, what is Coast Care? So we're a partnership between Northumberland Coast Area of Outstanding Natural Beauty, or AONB, the Northumberland Wildlife Trust, and Seahouses Development Trust. We're funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund, so if any of you have ever played the lottery, thank you very much. You contribute to lots of really great projects, and we're one of them, so thank you. So our aim is to support volunteers to help care for the Northumberland coast. So we help people of all ages and abilities to get out and do their bit for environmental work along the Northumberland coastline. So we work out of Seahouses, but we cover the whole of the AONB, so that's from Berwick in the north all the way down to Amble in the south. And we work with all of the environmental organisations in the area, so Natural England, National Trust, and also parish councils, local landowners, and anyone else as well who needs our help. So we were kind of set up as a bit of a matchmaking service to fill a bit of a gap. So there was lots of people who are really passionate about the Northumberland coast and really wanted to play their part to help in its maintenance and conservation. But the organisations in the area didn't really have the staff or resources to make that happen. So Coast Care was set up to sort of match up the people who wanted to volunteer with the organisations who needed their help. And we've achieved a lot since 2017. So we've had over 1,500 volunteers come out with us now, and between them they've contributed over 30,000 hours, which is an amazing contribution. So we've had 493 group activities, and we do a wide range of environmental work. So we do practical conservation tasks, wildlife surveys, beach cleans, which I'll go into more detail in a minute. We've also trained some of our volunteers to lead groups, so we're not completely reliant on staff anymore. We have volunteers who can go out and lead sessions themselves, which means we can do more with our time. And our volunteers have had a wide range of training as well. So they've had first aid training. We've got people who can now use brush cutters and chainsaws. And we've also got people who go out and do wildlife surveys as well by themselves. They're fully trained to go out and do it. We've also had 6 volunteers who've been awarded the Marsh Christian Trust and Wildlife Trust Volunteer Award for Marine Conservation. So that recognises their contribution to conservation in the area, which has been amazing. And we've had 31 young rangers. So these are young people and teenagers who every fortnight, every other Saturday, they go out and get involved in all sorts of things along the coastline. And we've had lots of groups of corporate volunteers, so other organisations who've sent out teams of their employees to get involved in conservation work. And they've done beach cleans, they've helped clear vegetation, tackle invasive species, they've done all sorts. And we've had 3 graduates who've completed traineeships with us as well, so that's meant that they've gained more skills and experience. They've been able to go off and get jobs in the sector. And we also now have a team of dedicated volunteers who give their time outside of group activities. So there's several roles that they do this in. So site wardens, footpath monitors, and people going out doing wildlife surveys as well. So before the world turned upside down, we were busy getting on with things along the coastline. So we were doing our practical conservation work. So this was a whole range of things. So we had teams of people going out digging up invasive species. So there's a plant called piri burr, which came over from New Zealand, and we spend quite a lot of time trying to tackle that all up and down the coastline. So this is at Beadnell Dunes, but we've pulled out piri burr from dunes all along the coast. And we also tackle other vegetation management as well. So these guys are taking out plants that have kind of taken over an area, so it's become a bit of a monoculture, which means that other important species have been pushed out. And we do all sorts of other practical conservation work as well. So this is one of our volunteers helping to put in a new gate at Anstead Dunes, sorry. So this is a Northumberland Wildlife Trust reserve between Beadnell and Seahouses, and for the part of their conservation work, ponies come into the area every winter to graze, but there's also a footpath that runs through, so we needed a new gate where people could get through easily, but ponies weren't going to get out onto the main road, so that's where Coast Care came in. And we've also been doing some dry stone walling as well. So we have a team of 12 volunteers who were trained up by a local dry stone waller. And then we have a lead volunteer who for the past year has been going out COVID dependent with this team and tackling, there's a stretch of dry stone wall leading into Craster that you can see here that was tumbled down and overgrown, and it kind of come onto the path a little bit, so it's quite difficult for people to access the path. So that's finished now. There's about 120 metres of dry stone wall that's been rebuilt, and it looks really good. They've done a really great job. And then if you've heard of Coast Care before, this is probably why you've probably heard about beach cleans. We've had some huge groups of people get together to help clean the beaches. It's made a big difference. So overall, we've had 174 beach cleans over the last few years, and we've also been involved in the Great British Beach Clean every year, which is a nationwide survey that's set up by the Marine Conservation Society. So we tend to cover the AONB for them. And as I said, we also have our volunteers getting involved in wildlife surveys as well. So this picture is a bio blitz. So we had local experts come in to a few specific areas, and over the course of a day, survey all sorts of different things. And our volunteers and members of the public were lending a hand. And then we've done wetland bird surveys, farmland bird surveys. These guys are doing a cetacean watch. So they're looking for whales and dolphins porpoises, and we've done plant surveys, and our volunteers also go out and record beach birds and eiders, piri-piri burr when they find it. They get involved in all sorts of things. And we also have our site wardens and our footpath monitors. So these are people who are giving their time outside of tasks. So it's almost like they adopt an area, so it might be a footpath or an area of coastline that's close to them, and they visit whenever they can. Sometimes it's every day, sometimes it's less often, however much people can give. And they just check over the area, report anything back to us that needs to be dealt with, so we can send a team of volunteers down. And they also do things like litter picking as well, just to keep the place clean and tidy. So then lockdown hit, and like everybody else, we've spent most of our time since then kind of adapting how we do things, so we can still have people going out and engaging with the natural world and helping with conservation, but in a safe way and under government guidelines. So the 17th of March last year was our last volunteer session, and we were out at the local nature reserve in Embleton. And after that, the staff were furloughed, but volunteers were still encouraged to be going out using their exercise every day to go out into their local area and do their bit for wildlife, whether it was a wildlife survey or a litter pick or whatever it was that they wanted to do. And we also had people sort of using the time that they had to get involved in other things as well. So we have one volunteer who was she lives along the coast, and she was lucky enough to have some oyster catchers who kind of used the quieter summer to breed really near to one of the footpaths that she walks. So she was monitoring them. And then one of our dry stone wallers used the time to make a dry stone wall in his garden, which is amazing. And we've also been using technology a lot more, so encouraging volunteering at a distance, so through our social media channels and our blog, sort of engaging with our volunteers and the general public and letting them know how they could be helping the natural world in a socially distanced way. And we've also had virtual coffee mornings, which we've set up. So we used to have coffee mornings once a month just to get together and have a chat and socialise and just have some coffee and cake together. Obviously that's not possible now, so we've gone online. So once a fortnight we get together and we have kind of local experts every time. telling us about their work and a different aspect of conservation. So it means that we can learn something new, and also it's a bit of a chance to just have a chat as well, which helps in these isolated times. And we also had sort of, once the first lockdown was over, we've sort of cautiously returned to group activities, making sure that we're doing it safely and having kind of small groups, and we focus on urgent work as well. So the first thing we did when we were allowed back out last summer was to return to this field here, to repeat a bee survey that we'd done the previous year. So there's a local expert who's been working with the farmer to find out if there's a plant called Phacelia, if that could be used as a fallow crop. So the idea is that this plant would help to rejuvenate the soil and also provide food. They flower in June, which is a time that our bees at the moment don't have much food. So if this is a good food source for them, then it's a great alternative for farmers to use as a fallow crop. And the results that we got the previous year were really good. So the expert wanted us to go out and repeat it to see if we could get some more data. And it looks really good. It was a great thing to be involved in because it looks like it's a goer. So they're now encouraging farmers to start using that more, to use Phacelia. And it looks beautiful as well. It covers the whole field in this just blanket of really nice purple flowers. So we also were doing some plant surveys as well last summer. So we were going out to places where we've done sort of the most practical conservation work over the years to try and kind of prove that what we've been doing has helped. And that's been great as well. We could do it in small groups. It was a really nice thing to do, kind of in a safe, socially distanced way. And we've been able to show that the areas that we've surveyed are more biodiverse than when we started. And it also means that data can now be used as a comparison in the future for future surveys of the area. And we've also had small groups of volunteers going out to increase the accessibility of the coastline. So I think the pandemic has kind of brought into focus for all of us how important it is that everybody can get out and enjoy their local area, and sort of be in nature. So our volunteers were going out helping to improve car parks and pathways and gates, that sort of thing, which means that more people can come out and access the coastline safely, and without damaging the environment as well, which is really important. And we also got involved in some work on Lindisfarne as well. So there's an area of, there's a habitat called marine wing grassland, which is very rare. It's only found in the northeast, and there's now only a few pockets of it left. So it's really important to protect what we have, especially, so last summer there was, once lockdown lifted, there was a lot more visitors to the coastline than normal, and that's likely to be the same again this summer. So this area was getting quite a lot of footfall. So that was another reason that we needed to get out and kind of help maintain it, so that it could cope with the visitors and people could come out and enjoy it, but it wasn't going to damage the environment and the habitat. So we were out with our brush cutters, and we also have some people who are trained in traditional scything as well, which got a lot of comments from passers-by, and it was lovely as well. It's a lovely place to be, especially when the sun's shining like this. So I've talked a lot about the benefits of coast care to the environment and to conservation, but there's also a lot of benefits to our volunteers as well. Especially during lockdown, our volunteers have told us a lot that it's been really important to them to be able to get out into nature, and especially with coast care being able to help to make a difference. And there's also mental health benefits. You can meet new people, learn new skills. It's reduced kind of isolation and loneliness for some people, which again, this pandemic has really brought into focus how important that is. So it's great for our volunteers and great for the coastline as well. So thanks very much for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.